Staying busy?
Staying busy. Yeah. I've been saying this. It's pretty much true. I think it's true of all my like artist friends. We got all this time on our hands, and there's been a lot more songs written. So that's been the silver lining, is getting to write songs, figuring out how to write them like this. So I have been busy and yeah, and writing songs. So that's not too bad.
It's crazy because I feel like it'll be like 10 years from now, it'll still be like, oh, that was a song we wrote during the pandemic, just like to try and get through the amount that has been written in this time is going to be crazy.
I agree. I think it's it's probably a silver lining anytime you can get a bunch of these artists that and writers as well that are so talented that can write songs with artists and things like that, and just well, it doesn't matter with artists, but just write songs in general. The more we have of talented people doing talented work, I think it's just going to raise the bar of music, and make country music even better. So at least that's what I keep telling myself.
For sure. And I think it's also got to be great for you guys because I'm sure trying to schedule time with certain songwriters, like there's probably people you've wanted to write with over the years. And it's like matching up tour schedules and all that stuff has got to be impossible. So I feel like right now it's like everybody's open, everybody's busy, and everybody's way more into writing virtually now too. Have you been doing a lot of that?
A bunch of that. Yeah. Early in and you're exactly right. Early in the process, there was a little bit of it, just the learning curve. I think probably with everybody that kind of transitioned to working mainly from home, figuring out how the technology works and integrating it just with life instead of making it feel like it's this new intrusive thing. And I know for me, a lot of the apprehension to write, via Zoom or something like that is, it's kind of gone. It's just kind of how it's been the past few months. So there's a comfort zone, and then there again, you're getting better songs out of it. So I think that's another thing that'll probably happen going forward is hopping on a Zoom right like this and trying to get it done, as opposed to flying to LA or trying to get out on the road. There'll be some of that, but there'll be a lot more of this, I think. Too.
Yeah, definitely. And speaking of great songs, let's talk about your EP that just came out. Better Than That. 8 songs on here. You co-wrote 5 of those. Talk to me about the other 3 and when it came to like picking songs that you hadn't written and how those songs came to you.
Sure. Well, this is the first time I've released music that I didn't write. And, I moved to town. I moved to Nashville, to be a singer-songwriter, but really songwriting on my mind. And I knew that, as I sit here now, when I cut music now, I have some of the most talented people in Nashville and the world sending me songs, and I know for me that this, especially if you love songs and you love songwriting, the song really has to be king regardless of kind of who wrote it. If it's an incredible song and if it fits on the project, it needs to be considered, or else there'd be no such thing, as songwriters. So with that in mind, I wrote a bunch for this, and I was pitched some music that I thought really fit in well with what we did. It was really something new and unique, and a lot of it is from a little bit different of a perspective than maybe I would come from writing it. It's just fresh and new. So we just put all the songs that we liked in a pile, and what came out was what came out. And we're, I was really pleased with that, and I really got to make some great music.
That's awesome. And speaking of one of the songs that you didn't write that made it onto the EP, If I Was a Bar, had the coolest music video. Talk to me about, was the decision to play all 13 characters in the video, was that because of COVID, or was that something you had thought of beforehand and wanted to do?
No, that was definitely because of COVID. We were trying to fit, that was happening very early on with, kind of phase 1 or 2 back in the shutdown. And so we had to follow the protocols and try to figure out ways to do something kind of creative within those rules. And the director of the video, Dustin Haney, that was kind of his idea. But it's, when I read the treatment, I jumped in head first. We were trying to, make these characters have a little bit of a backstory so that it'd be fun to do. And a lot of my favorite movies like Coming to America or The Nutty Professor, it's got Eddie Murphy playing all these characters. And so that was the headspace I was in while I was doing all that stuff. Obviously there's no lines, it's just a music video, but I had a bunch of fun, did some behind the scenes stuff with some of the guys, and it was great.
I'm sure the behind the scenes stuff was really cool, because when you see that and you see yourself 13 times, you're like, how do they make that work? How does this even happen?
100%, man. And that just goes to show you how, I moved to town writing for music, but there's so many people here that are so creative in different ways, and really like people that are creative visually. Like I understand how music works a little bit, and I appreciate it in a different way now that I kind of know I can see the seams, I know the nuts and bolts, but I don't know anything about visual art. So it's magic to me, especially digital media like that. It's just magic to me. So he has this idea, and we execute it, and he comes up, at the end of the day or the end of the week with a splice video, making it work just great, and making sure I didn't mess it up. So it was a lot of fun. It was a long day, but it was a lot of fun.
I'm sure. Was there ever like a person sitting across from you when you were actually having to pretend to talk to yourself, or were you just talking to no one?
There was some of the times it would just kind of depend on the shot, but sometimes that really kind of helps because you have a more natural conversation. And then some of the conversations where I'm kind of talking to myself, kind of remembering what I said, sort of previously, and trying to make that work. So we had a great time.
That's awesome. And it came out great. And also on the EP is your 2-week #1 Prayed for You, as well as your new single, Everywhere But On. And those two are they're such different songs, because one is about finding this great love that you've prayed for. And obviously Everywhere But On is this breakup song. So did that play a part in those being so opposite and you picking Everywhere But On as a new single?
Yeah, Everywhere But On is the sequel.
Oh, no, that's so sad to that story.
Yeah, well, hopefully it's a trilogy. Hopefully it's like Star Wars, that there's the last one. We're on Empire Strikes Back with Darth Vader's winning right now. Again, going back to songs, that's really what I'm passionate about, is songs that make that do something. Like, music makes me feel a way nothing else does, and I really love, part of what I love about country music is not being afraid to tackle some of those harder, like, moments and subjects. I mean, it happens in other music too, but I just love it in country music, that kind of rock and heartbreak thing. So to me, it was much more in the service of the song, because I thought when I wrote that song with one of my best friends, Paul Sykes, and Lance Miller, who's just coming off another #1 with I think one of them girls. But we wrote that song together, and I knew how much I loved that song. It was one of my favorites that I had written. And, when it comes to putting things on a project, I take a lot of initiative there, because I'm lucky I get to be creative from writing the songs, or even if I don't, but being able to choose some of that. And then also I co-produced the project with my manager and co-writer Ash Bowers. So, it really is, when we're writing this stuff, it's focused on the song. And I really love that song, and I knew that I wanted to put it on the project. And, at the end of the day, when we get done writing songs and figure out what an EP is going to look like, or just a group of songs for a single, I just kind of put it in a pile and let a lot of the people that are experts and have been there before help pick what's going to work in terms of promoting a single. And so I didn't really know if that song would be something that would be a single. I hope so, because it's one of my favorite songs I've ever written. And then to hear my team at Sony, who's done this successfully forever, come in and say, "Hey man, we think this song's really kind of sticking out to us, man. We want to make it the next single." And I mean, that's really special to me, because not only is it a song that means a lot to me, but it's a song that my team wants to work and believes in. So it's pretty special, but it is very different from Pray For You, for sure.
We look forward to hearing what the trilogy and how that will end. But I really love Everywhere But On. And I'll never forget the first time I saw the title. I was like, what could this song even be about? Like, just because it's not what you think, I feel like, at first. And it becomes a story about how you're trying to move away. So I'm just curious, like, how that phrase or where that idea came from for Everywhere But On.
Well, I like to have songs that make my buddies, they give them easy ways to make fun of me. Like, they can be like, "Hey Matt, that golf ball's everywhere but on the green. Ha 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 ha." No,
I'm sure you've given them plenty of ammunition, like prayed for you.
Yeah. "Hey Matt, I prayed for you to order me another beer at the bar." Like, it's never easy. So, but no, to answer your question, well, ask me your question again, because I forgot it. I was talking about.
No, it's fine. My question was just, where did the idea for, like, how did that phrase "everywhere but on" come up and become the centerpiece of this song?
Yeah, totally. So that song came from Paul Sykes had that title, and he taught. Usually when we get in the writing room, we'll just sit there and we'll toss title. That's generally how songs, at least in my world, get done. They start from the title, and we were tossing titles out. But I think he said that the first or second title maybe that he said, and I mean, my eyes just lit up like a slot machine, and I said, dude, that's incredible. Let's write. I think we had it written really quickly, like the idea crystallized really quickly, and we knew where we were going. I knew the guy in the song. I like to say that I lived a lot of life when I wrote that song that's in the song, and then after I released it, I lived a bunch more of it. So, so I just knew that I knew that character, and I knew that time of life, that character was in, and I know the difference between staying busy can help you move on, so you're not dwelling on things. But when your life is like, mine is, and a lot of people's, not even just in the music business, you're spending so much time on the road, and you're going out doing something you love, that it can sometimes become, are you staying busy or are you running away from your problems? And so that was what that song was kind of about, was that line a little bit. But yeah, that's how it came to be.
Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, make sure to like and subscribe and hit that bell for all notifications from radio.com. While you're at it, why don't you check out some of our other great videos.